Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Feeding a Curious Mind. My name's John Pullen and I'm a writer of books, both fiction and non-fiction. We're going to talk about how an aircraft flies. Now, most of us, in fact all of us, have probably seen many aircraft in the air, and I suppose many of you have flown in one. I spent 30 years as a pilot and flew quite a few aircraft types, but some of the ones which are really big, like the Airbus 380, can weigh close to 600 tons. So how on earth does an aircraft take off and remain in the air? Well, Douglas Adams, who was the author of the highly successful Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, said there is an art to flying. The knack is to throw yourself at the ground and miss. Well, it's a nice idea and there's some truth to it. But if we look at the principles of flight, this is what we get. An aircraft relies on producing lift as it moves forwards. And it does this because of the shape of the wing. If you look closely at the cross-section of a wing, then you will notice that the upper side is curved much more than the flatter surface underneath. The engine will pull the aircraft forward. Then, as the speed increases, the pressure above and below the wing also changes. The pressure below the wing increases and the pressure above the wing decreases. This is because the airflow has to go further around the top surface because of the extra curvature, and that produces the pressure difference. Now, when the engine has increased the speed of the aircraft to such an extent, then the pressure difference can be looked on as lift, and once that lift is greater than the weight of the aircraft, then it will take off. Fairly simple, fairly straightforward. So let's have a look at the four forces that act on an aircraft once it's in flight. And we'll keep it simple by looking at an aircraft in the cruise. In other words, it is flying, as we say, straight and level. We have the weight of the aircraft, which is acting vertically downwards. We have the lift generated by the engine, acting upwards. The thrust of the aircraft is produced by the engine and is directed forwards in the direction of travel. And we have drag, which acts in the opposite direction of thrust and is caused by, in this case, it would be air friction around the aircraft. Now, in straight and level flight, weight equals lift and thrust equals drag. If any of these factors change, in other words, we could descend, we could climb, we could turn, or the aircraft could come under a slightly different wind strength or direction. Any one of these factors happening will cause the aircraft to go out of balance. In other words, will not be flying straight and level. The pilot will pick this up immediately if they're flying manually and just adjust the controls very slightly to accommodate these changes. In a modern airliner and many other aircraft, the autopilot will do this for you. So that's how an aircraft flies, and that's basically how an aircraft stays in the air. So happy flying.